Welcome to the weekly Forex forecast. I'm going to break down the key currency pairs I'm watching this week, and I've got some great trade setups that you won't want to miss. Whether you're trading the Asian, London, or New York sessions, this one is for you, as I'm going to share every single one of my trade ideas with you. So if you're tired of missing all the big moves, then this is your wake-up call. Let's dive into the action. As always, guys, we've got so much to get through, but please stay to the end of the vid because that's where I'm going to share all of my trade ideas for this week. We're going to start, though, with the Fed Chair Powell speaking at Jackson Hole on Friday, because this hugely impacted markets. So what he said was basically he had concerns about the employment figures coming out and also concerns about the inflation, and this suggested a readiness for a rate cut next time around. So this made the dollar become very weak, and it put some strength back into the indices that were ultimately selling off a bit. So it's led to a bit of a confused picture. And we're going to illustrate this by looking at some currency pairs right now. And we're going to start with US dollar. Okay, so obviously, if we're going to have an interest rate cut, it's going to be bearish for the dollar. All right. And that's what we saw, right? We had this massive sell-off on Friday. That is Friday's daily candle. This is US dollar, Canadian dollar, and that is just US dollar weakness. You can pick any of them. Pound US dollar. Look at the daily candle. US dollar weakness. Okay. Now, if we go back to US dollar, Canadian dollar, it really has put us back to square one with trading the US dollar majors, because we thought we were getting a nice clear direction, right? We was getting all of this bullishness with the US dollar. We're breaking highs. Everything was looking like US dollar strength was back, or we had some US dollar strength again. But what was said on Friday just put an absolute stop to that, and therefore has led to a confusing picture with US dollar, because, you know, even if we are in an uptrend, which we are with US dollar, Canadian dollar, I don't want to be buying into that candle. And also, if we look at the weekly chart, right, it's just confused, right? Are we breaking out of this level? We think we are, and then we get a massive rejection candle. So it's just led to confusion, right? What was said by Fed Chair Powell on Friday. If we go to New Zealand dollar, US dollar, you know, we thought we were getting a break here. This is the weekly chart, right? Again, if we got a nice break of these lows, right, and a nice big bearish candle, the picture would be very clear for us. I would be selling New Zealand dollar, US dollar, and bullish US dollar, right? But it didn't, yeah? Because of what was said on Friday, this wick closed back into this support level here. So confused is the US dollar right now. Having said that, my first trade idea, and one US dollar pair I am willing to trade, is US dollar Swiss franc, because the picture is clear. And generally, guys, what I'm looking for, you know, obviously, is a clear picture, right? I want weekly, daily, you know, pulling in the same direction. Okay, then chances are you have a high probability trade, right? So US dollar Swiss franc is my first trade idea, and we're looking to sell it because on the weekly, we're clearly in this downtrend, right? Lower highs, yeah, lower lows, okay? We're also seeing, you know, that's a bearish wick, bit of indecision. But if we go down to the day chart now, we have had a very clear structure break, okay? So we was, as we know, the US dollar was trying to build up some strength again. We went a little bit sideways, but then again, what was said by Fed Chair Powell, we had this big sell-off on the dollar. But this one was so much so that we had a structure break. We broke these lows in here, and we are now getting lower lows. All right, so I'm interested in selling US dollar Swiss franc back down to this low here, first of all, if not further. Okay, so US dollar Swiss franc. All the other US dollar pairs are not clear to me, right? For the reasons I explained. Now, the next thing we want to focus on the back of Fed Chair Powell's and what he said at Jackson Hole, are the indices, right? Because we saw this massive push up. This is the day chart, but we was getting a sell-off, right, on the indices. Okay, but he alluded to an interest rate cut. Bang, that is bullish for the indices. Nasdaq shot up, and let's look at the Dow Jones, because this actually shot up and broke a key weekly resistance level. Yeah, look at this resistance level here, right? It broke that level. Now, again, we were seeing a bit of selling off on the indices, right? Now, is this just a knee-jerk reaction to what Powell said and we got some buyers late on Friday, right? Or is this bearish theme with the indices going to continue? Now, what I'm interested in is how this dynamic impacts currency pairs. And obviously, the currency pair that is so directly correlated with the indices is the yen. Okay. Now, the yen, because of all of this, just look at the Nasdaq, right? Because of all of this, we're buying, okay? We're selling, we're buying, we're selling, okay? Risk on, risk off, risk on, risk off. This confusion has been reflected in yen pairs. Okay, and if we look at, I don't know, if we look at Aussie dollar yen, for example, right, on the daily, we are clearly in this downtrend, right, and bullish yen strength. This is what this is. But if you go to the weekly chart on Aussie dollar yen, right, we're firmly in a weekly uptrend, right? And we had this nice bullish wick bounce off these lows and this support level. So you've got this daily, weekly conflict, right? Having said that, again, I am interested in a couple of, well, one yen pair mainly, because ultimately I am still bullish yen, because that is what the charts are technically telling me. Because if you look at Canadian dollar yen, right, we've broken out of this trend line on the weekly chart. We've got nothing but selling candles pretty much. If we go to the day chart, okay, again, we're breaking down, right? And this is where we're at. So I'm ultimately still bullish yen, okay, yen strength. But the one that I really like out of all the yen pairs is pound yen. Because even, and another important point here, guys, is even though the indices shot up, yen didn't really react that much, right? Again, when the indices do this, yen becomes weak. So if yen become weak, pound yen should be seeing green candles pushing up, yen weakness. But we never got that, okay? And in fact, Friday's daily candle on pound yen remained very bearish, okay? So let's just start with the weekly here, because I want to show you this as well. We are at a key weekly resistance level, okay? And we're getting we're getting bearish weekly candles at that level, okay? If I zoom in, you can see that. So pound yen sells is my second trade idea. If we go down to the day chart now, you can see ever since we've hit this weekly level, just how the candles have changed. Like this was bullish, 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 bullish. This wick is bullish. And now just look at the candles. Bearish, big wick, bearish, 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 bearish. Okay, so my idea with pound yen is I'm actually in this trade. I'm still selling it. Is to take price back down to potentially this 197.50 level and this support level. If we look at the H4, we got this massive sell-off, right, with yen. Okay, so I'm still in this trade, guys. So let's see how this plays out. But look, you know, it's super bearish. We're breaking below the river here. You know, I think we've got a good trade to take back down to these lows. I'm already in this trade, but if I wasn't, I would wait for a bit of a pullback into this grey zone, right? Get a bearish reaction and then look to come lower. All right, so pound yen. I also, yeah, I am looking at CAD yen. Yeah, I prefer pound yen. I like CAD yen as well, but CAD yen is already at these lows, okay, on the H4. Whereas if we look at pound yen, we've still got a nice amount of room to move into, firstly back to these lows, if not a bit further. All right, so pound yen sells is my second trade idea for today. For this week, sorry. Guys, I'm now going to share with you the rest of my trade ideas. We're seeing a bit of pound weakness is a running theme through these trades. But before I do, if I could please ask everyone to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash that like button. If you haven't already, please come join our wonderful trading community. You can talk to traders, share knowledge, share trades. It's a great place. So come join the free Discord. Also, guys, if you want access to all of our premium trading education, including the Simply Forex course, including my mentorship program, including the VIP Trading Academy, and including our newly created Price Action 101 Pro indicator, then go check out the website www.simply-forex.com. All the links are on the channel below the vid, etc. Also, guys, just to support the vid and also get your views, please leave a comment. What do you think to my trade ideas? How are you seeing yen? How are you seeing US dollar? Please leave your comments below, guys. Also, if you would like help with anything, leave a question below. Right, let's have a look at this pound weakness that I'm seeing. So let's start with euro pound, and let's start with the weekly chart. Now, as you can see on the weekly chart, euro pound is in an uptrend, right? This is where we're at, okay? We're getting higher lows, higher highs, and this high did actually break only just with this candle right here. So we are getting higher highs. We've had a bit of a retrace, and then we've got this level here where price keeps reacting, okay? So much so we got a really nice bullish weekly candle form. And the idea would be to take it back up to here. If we drop to the day chart now, the day chart is scruffier. There's no two ways about it, right? This is in a uptrend at this point. Then it's in a downtrend, so getting lower lows. And now it's kind of ranging a bit, really, right? We're ranging between this low and these highs. So the idea is we're getting all of this buying pressure. The idea would be to take it back up and complete the range. And what I also like here, we literally have a H4 trade, right? It was just too late Friday evening for me to enter, guys. I don't really enter on a Friday evening. Things are winding down and you can get some, you know, crazy moves really. But we have had, that's an entry candle, that's an entry candle. So maybe on Monday, guys, when the market's open, we can start buying here, stops below here, and look to take price higher. If I zoom out, you can see us completing that range. So euro pound, we've literally got a setup on the H4, maybe Monday morning. Pound yen was obviously a trade that I spoke about earlier, which was pound weakness, yen strength. And then the next one is pound Aussie dollar. Again, if we go to the weekly chart, we find ourselves in a bit of a range as well. Okay, so price came down and now we've just been ranging between here and here, right? This is resistance, this is support, and this is pretty much where we found ourselves. Now, with this big weekly bearish candle, right, the idea would be to eventually take price all the way down to the bottom of the range. Okay, so weekly is telling me I can sell. Again, pound weakness. If we go to the day chart, Obviously, we're in a daily uptrend, right? You don't need to be Warren Buffett. You can clearly see that is in an uptrend. So what I'd like to see is perhaps something like this, guys, and we get a break, yeah, a breakdown of daily structure. Once this happens, I'll be looking to sell pound Aussie dollar. And obviously, guys, this could take days to happen. It could even be a trade next week, but that is what I am waiting for. Now, you can be more aggressive, right? You could say we're bouncing off a nice weekly resistance level. I'm going to trade a H4 breakdown, right? That would be more aggressive. And we've already had that. Yeah, if you just track H4, right, we are in a H4 downtrend. So maybe moves back into this level here, right? Could be a nice entry to take lower as well. I'll keep an eye on that level for sure. This 2.09 thousand level for sells. So yeah, they're all my trades associated with pound weakness. What else are we looking at? We're also seeing a bit of Canadian dollar weakness as well. So let's start with Aussie dollar, Canadian dollar. Again, if we start with the weekly, you can see, guys, we broke out of this important trend line where price kept tracking it. We've broken out of there. And ever since we've broken out of there, we found ourselves in a bit of a range, right? A bit of a messy market, but it's very reliable in terms of a range. It's just been doing that. Okay, and we've got this big weekly wick here, so we can come to the top of the range. That's the idea. Okay, so that would be a buy trade. If you look at the daily chart, yeah, you can see here we've got this bit of a trend line through here as well. Right, so this is almost an ascending triangle, right? And we had this big bullish daily candle. What I'd be looking for, guys, if we go to the H4 now, I'll be looking for a pullback into this support level here. We get the river coming round. Okay, in here we could have a really good buy trade on Aussie dollar, Canadian dollar. Also, EuroCAD. In fact, no, I'm not going to show you EuroCAD. It's not a trade idea. So we're not going to look at that, but we are going to look at Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, because that is a buy trade as well. Let's start with the weekly chart. You can see New Zealand dollar was super weak off the back of the interest rate and whatever was said there. If you just look at the weekly chart, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar is flying, right? In fact, I would say this is structure. Okay, so clearly flying, super bullish candle. We saw a bit of Aussie dollar strength because of that strength we got in the indices, right? And we've got room to move into. Again, things are a little bit overbought. So if we go to the day chart, I would be looking for a pullback at least into, maybe the river, okay, or even this level here. So somewhere in here, I would be interested in buying Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. Let me just check, guys. Is that all of my trade ideas? Yes, it is. All right, guys. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed my trade ideas. If you have, please subscribe, like, and share. Please don't forget to join me for the live streams during the week and check out all the YouTube vids. And please get involved. Come check out the website and join our trading community. We've got a lovely free Discord. Guys, have a great trading week. See you soon.